How is everybody? Can you guys hear me
Hello,
okay?
hello.
Yeah, fantastic.
Give
Yes.
me a thumbs up,
Good.
you got me. So I'm gonna first give a shout out to your SMD. It's Paula, do I have controls so I can show my screen too, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Am I good? Okay. You know, the thing is I'm a big believer in pay it forward. And I've got to give a big shout out to your SMD because she took a risk and just said, "Hey, would you like to talk to my team?" And I said, "Absolutely." Because all last year, that's all I did. I reached out to leaders like Monty Home, and he did a call. I reached out to another Canadian leader, Dave Basheri, which I've known from Hawaii days. I don't know what part of Canada he's in. You guys know Dave Basheri? Yeah.
Yes.
Great guy. We've known each other over the years, which says we know each other's names, but now he knows we're a contender. So he did a call for my team. Jay Guthier did a call for my team. David Lynn, EVC out of Guillermo Haro. The list goes on and on. And during this era of COVID, what we did was we had a pivotal point. We wanted to get to the next level in our business, and we were dead serious. And I said, you know what, just like in any prospect, I'm going to reach out to some leaders and I'm going to get my people in front of the best people. And so that's what your leader did tonight. Is that's a secret in WFG is people always ask us what, Brian Loiso's secret is or our secret. And I said, I get my people in front of others. My team is done listening to me. So I'll get them in front of anyone else. They do that for me. And so I made a promise that as we grew through success, that if people did hit me up for talks, my wife will be joining us here in about 30, 40 minutes. She's finishing a client meeting right now. That if people reached out to us, that we would pay it back because the leaders, Monty and all our great leaders did it for us. So we wanted to give it back. And kudos to your great leader, Paula. Like I said, this is the first time we've conversated. We did a little bit of chat through Facebook Messenger. She reached out. I've got a couple more calls lined up over the next few weeks. And I'm super grateful to share my not just my story, you guys, but I'm going to give you guys some tangibles. You guys want some tangibles to make 2020 a pivot year?
Yes.
Is it me, or does it feel like 2022 is the year? Is it just me, or is everyone feeling that?
Yes.
Like, I know for us, our guys, we're like, this 2020 halfway through was just an absolute mess. Okay. And then halfway through that, we found our footing with Zoom. We found our footing with recruiting and producing, and it was pedal to the metal. So what you saw, and I'll show some numbers there. We doubled our business. I'll give you guys some pointers to double your business. You guys want to do that? We went from SMD to EMD, $250,000 to $500,000 in less than 12 months. Less than 12 months. Okay. We qualified number 60 in the leaders boards for Hawaii. I'm a big proponent of Hawaii qualifications because that's where you form relationships. That's where I formed my relationship with Dave Basheri and David Lynn and Steve Holbrook and some of these other great leaders. I have a lot of respect for the Canadian group, tons of respect. And I don't know the lines of the Providence, whatever, but I'm good friends with Cam Agnew. And I was just talking on the phone today with Ben Spangle. You guys know that name, and Cam Agnew. Great people up there. So my hope is that I can share some ideas with you guys that'll actually give you something tangible that you can walk away with, some excitement, some fire, but then also intangibles that you can implement today, not tomorrow, today, to get to work, to get you in your business. And so like Paula said, I've been with the company 19 years. And if you guys aren't on the WFG Facebook page, get on that, the friends and family page there. There's a lot of good stuff on there, but I was just called to post something because, how many of you guys have gone to the conventions? How many of you guys been to the annual conventions, over the years? And I just had this calling to post something because you go to the conventions and what do? Lots of times they go, hey, this is your first convention? And it's like 3/4 of the arena. It's like their first convention, and then there's the veterans that are the ones that are talking. Okay. Those are the ones that are talking. But what about those middle folk? What about the people that have been here 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 years that are still grinding it out? They're going, you know what? I know I can do it here. It's just taking me a minute and I'm too stubborn to quit. I may be at MD or I may got my ring and I may have qualified for some things, but I know I can do this. Like, you just sit there and go, I know I can do this. It's just a matter of time. And so I was called to post that because I was hoping to inspire people. I believe I was put on this earth now to inspire, not through rah, rah, and talk, but through action. And that's why I'm going to show some numbers too for you guys through action, saying, look, you know, I can, maybe me too. That's kind of my catchphrase with my guys. I'm like, hey, you got to have a me too business. You got to have a business that says, yeah, me too. I can do that. Me too. I can do that. I can do that. Me too. Maybe one of these days, me too. And that's what kept me here all those years grinding it out, was that me too. One of these days I will be there. One of these days. And that was just my dreamland, you know? And so I was called to post that a few weeks ago, and I couldn't believe the buzz that it was getting and the inspiration. I'm like, mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. So if this got people through one more year, I'm happy, because I believe that 2022 is the pivotal year. I believe this is the year that, 2021, we're all running around with our hair on fire. We're all doomed. Who knows what's going on, And 2021, we're like, you know what? I think I'm getting the hang of this. I'm getting the hang of this. And we're moving. The company's moving. The MDs are moving. We're moving. You know what? This is now my year. I finally got a hold of this, right? Anyone else feel that way? That's how I felt. And so we've laid down some big goals, some big challenges within our hierarchy. And so I'm going to go ahead and share some points with you guys, some tips for the new people, but also to the veterans in the house, the MDs, the senior associates, the SMDs. Maybe you got your ring or whatever, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna get that red ring, I want to get that green ring, whatever it is. And so I'm going to share some tips that have helped us over the years get to that point, and my wife's going to close us out. Is that a deal? Also, as I go through, if you got a question, jot it down. I'm going to leave some time for some Q&A if you guys need. But I'm an open book, so I'm a very basic dude. You guys will catch that. And I'm just going to get permission right now to talk to you guys if I was going to talk to my base shop, my leadership. Okay. We had a massive BPM last night, and I was on, and I said, this is the year, guys. This is our year. They thought, I say they, like I'm Loiso's number one guy. You guys know Brian Loiso. I've been with that guy since, I couldn't even afford a suit when I started my journey here, and I'll go through that in a second. And so he's watched me go through the years. And I said, not only are we the number one guy, but we're going to make a massive separation in our business. Who wants a massive separation in their business this year? Who wants to turn some heads, not just in the business world, but their family and their friends are going, you know what in the world just happened? Like, I got so many calls from my peers and my teammates across the lines, across the country. They're calling me up and going, what did you do? And I said, I'll tell you what I did, and I'll share the secrets. So I'm going to share you guys those secrets. You guys want some secrets? You guys down for that? All right, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about the beginning, okay? Like Paula said, I went to school for finance. I was sold a dream when I was a personal trainer, okay? I was 20-some years old. I didn't know what I wanted to do in school because I wasn't a good student. I didn't have the best marks in high school. And I suffer with a little bit of dyslexia. So sometimes if I stutter or if I write weird, it's because of a little bit of that. And, but I also grew up in a lower middle class family where, I don't know about you guys, but I grew up in a household where you heard a lot of, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. Christmas came on a budget with me, and I just didn't want that. I didn't want a life like that. And granted, we weren't eating off the floor or anything like that. My parents did what they could, and they did well, but there wasn't much left over because they sacrificed everything to get us out of a bad neighborhood into a good neighborhood. And so I vowed after high school, I said, I just need to find something where I can make a lot of money. I'm not afraid to say this. I'm not ashamed to say that, because I want to make a lot of money. You can do a lot of cool things when you got right money. You can donate a lot. I donate a boatload. I've got a goal to donate a six-figure amount to some organizations this year. So I need to go out and make it happen in 2022. And I met a guy who was a stockbroker. He was a client of mine. I was a personal trainer at the time, and he convinced me to get into business school. He convinced me to go to get a finance degree, and so I went. And that's where I met my now mentor and great friend, Brian Loiso. Brian Loiso at the time was just a marketing director. In those days, they were just called marketing directors. He had one marketing director on his team. I think he was at 125 in cash flow. Just so you guys know, he's about to hit 1.5 in his ring, 1.5 million in his ring now. He's EVC. He's on the President's Council. I mean, he's got like Susan Davies and Tom Dempsey on speed dial. He's the who's who of our organization. And at that time, he was just trying to grind it out here in Denver. And he took me under his wing, and he taught me everything he knew. And I had another guy in between us who helped, he helped recruit me. But in that time frame, I was with the business over 10 years. Okay. And think about this, guys. It took me 7 years to hit SMD because I was part-time, but I hit it part-time. It took me 4 years later to hit my ring because I was part-time. I hadn't sold out yet. I just still, I believe, mentally dipping my toe in. I had a mortgage business. My wife and I ran a mortgage company, and we had our WFG business. So if there's anything you can take from tonight, and I believe this is my prediction, and I know it's going to happen to my teammates, I believe WFG is going to be a place where SMD is the standard for part-time. It's no longer going to be the mark. And I believe the company's so good right now. The products are so good. The marketplace is so good that you will be able to attract talent that will be hitting SMD part-time. They'll be hitting their ring part-time. That's my full belief. And that's what I talk about. That's how we market. And so 7 years hit SMD. 4 more years later, it hit my ring, 5 years after that to promote my first SMD. If you guys know the guidelines, what do you need for EMD? You need 3 SMDs and you need a lot of points. You need a lot of production. Yeah. But once we fired ourselves, which is we got rid of our business, our mortgage business. Once we got rid of that, all of a sudden things took off. We went full time. And in that time frame, we promoted 4 SMDs in 3 years. I hit my $250,000 ring. 5 years after my 100,000. 3 years later, hit 500,000. And a month after that, I hit EMD. I mean, boom, 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 just like that because of a decision. Now, so here's my thing here. You guys always hear that stupid word, decision, right? We've always heard that. How many of you guys remember that? He's like, got to make a decision, right? Got to make a decision. And so, and it's true. You have to make a decision. So let me see this here. I'm going to. So, and I believe every decision is started with a seed. Every decision starts as a seed. There's a moment in your life. There has to be. When you play big here or health or anywhere, there's a moment in time where you go, enough is enough. Well, I'm going to rewind the clock. This was my moment. There I am right there. There's a pink circle there. That's the WFG home office boardroom. Okay. That's the home office boardroom. And what had happened was I was actually called out. That's Bill Mitchell. You guys know SEVC Bill Mitchell. Okay. He runs the Wealth Wave, which I'm a part of. He had called a shot about 4 years ago and said, here, we're going to fly out. He ran a category of all his top SMDs. And he had us all there at a boardroom of we were going to be the next leaders, next EMDs, those things. Well, I'll tell you, I showed up that boardroom flat out, not ready to play ball. There's my peers right there talking. And at that time, the company had just launched the new SMD bonus pool or bonus pool. If you'd hit 50,000 points in a quarter. Do you guys remember that? You get an $8,000 bonus. Do you guys remember that? They were just launching that. Okay. And so this is key here because I want you guys to make some notes on this. And if there's one thing I want you guys to put in your notes right now is that I'd write this in my notes. I can catch anybody. I can catch the Martinez's. I can catch the Haros. I can catch the Penny Oys. It is true because I'm catching those fools. We're right on their tails. Okay. And it's just in a blink of an eye, it can happen like that. And it happens with a decision, guys, because right here in that moment, Bill stopped the meeting and he says, let's do some accountability. Let's find out where everybody's numbers are because you need to be hitting 50,000 base shot points a month to qualify for this bonus. So this meeting is full of a bunch of who's who. I still hadn't hit my $250,000 ring yet. I had just promoted my second SMD, so I had no base shot. And he's going around the room. And he gets, what are your points last month? 30,000 base shop. What are your points? 40,000 base shop. What are yours? 50,000. What are yours? He gets to me. Guess what mine were? Negative 18,000. Negative. I said negative. That's a ton of chargeback. And I was PO'd because in a room full of killers like that, what do you get? You get a reaction of like this. Whoa. I mean, there's zero filter. Zero filter. And I was like, whoa. And I just was so embarrassed. My wife was home with our little girl. And I get emotional thinking about it because I flew home from the Atlanta airport that night and said, that will never happen again in front of my peers. I will never be embarrassed about our business again. I will never be embarrassed about a representation of our name or where we represent the city or the state of Colorado. Not happening again. And at that moment, never again, that was in 2017, we're riding that wave still today. Every decision, you got to start with a seed. And in that seed, what has to happen is that you kind of just go in that little quiet place where you say, you know what? I don't care what comes after me. You can fire bullets, bulldozers, whatever. I am going to win. And you all are going to watch and clap for me along the way. You got to kind of have that killer attitude. And you can have that quiet attitude about you too, because I don't run around pounding my chest. I'm a pretty, not a quiet dude. I'm a pretty calm guy. I'm always smiling. I'm always having a good time. But in my mind, I'm going, how do I get ahead? How do I get ahead? And so let's get moving here. First things first, my message to your new associates, your first associates, you must be committed to 100% coachability for the next 18 months just to get momentum, you guys. 18 months to get momentum, okay? Momentum. What do I mean by that? You're not even in the game just yet, okay? You're not even in the game just yet. So when I'm talking about momentum, there we go. Now we can operate. Still getting used to the Zoom thing. And as we've been at it for like 2 years now. 18 months, team. I tell my new teammates, newest people, you need 18 months just to get something moving. Okay. You need 3 to 5 years to have a new career. And this is just real talk. Like I said, I'm just talking to you like I would in my base shop. So my new people in the room, not my new people, when I'm talking to them, when I'm interviewing people, I tell them, I said, look, if you give me 18 months of solid coaching, I'll give you a shot at a new career. You give me 3 to 5 more years of that, I'll give you a new life. That's the message I give my team, guys. That's the message I believe that we all need to give, because the number one frustration in WFG is unrealistic expectations. Yes, we hear about the Daniel Fombos that are doing some crazy things right now, and the Eric Olsons and all these people, all these great leaders. But let me tell you something. That's the exception. That's not the rule. The rest of us, there's a lot of us that are just grinders, and that's okay. There is nothing wrong with that, because there's some great fruits at the end of that rainbow. Okay. But I'm telling you, the rest of the people, the people that just stick it out. And I believe that as leaders, as people in our offices, if we shoot people straight and say, look, it's going to take 18 months just to get your footing. And guess what? You're going to stink at this. And that's okay. I believe SEVC Guillermo Haro is probably one of the best at that. He straight shoots everybody and says, look, you're going to stink at this. This is new skills. This is new words. This is new industry. You can't just walk in and just take over. It just doesn't happen that way. You can align yourself. You can form great teams. You can do all those things, but you're going to go through some fire. You got to earn your stripes. Okay. And in those 18 months after that, 3 to 5 years to get some real shaping of a new career. Okay. So new people, think about that. The message to the SMDs or MDs in the house. If you want to go big in 2022, if you're saying this is the year I hit Hawaii, this is the year I hit my incentive trips, this is the year I hit my ring, or this is the year I changed the stone out, can you walk into the office like a white belt? Who knows what a white belt is? Who's in? Yeah, see, I'm a big martial artist. I love Muay Thai, I love kickboxing. I'm also a big MMA fan. And I think some of the greatest students never stop learning. And I think sometimes the big disease in WFG is that people come in and they hit MD, or they hit their ring, or they hit the SMD, and they think they've arrived. You know, I go so far back, you guys, that we had this thing called SMD Academy back in the day. Way back in the day, the home office would fly you out. You'd have a day and a half of meetings. Ed Milet was actually one of the teachers there. He was still in the field, still doing some things back then. And I'll never forget this. Think about this. He just threw a wet blanket on the entire room. He said, look, you all are SMDs now. Congratulations. You now have a ticket to watch the game. You're not playing yet. You have a ticket to watch. You're not playing. What did he mean by that? Well, we have 2 jobs here. Monty Holmes says all the time, we have 2 jobs in WFG. Hit SMD, promote SMDs. That's our role. That's our role. That's your role. Your role is to hit the SMD, hit the requirements, get that out of the way. It's not Everest. and then start in the leadership factory, start developing SMDs. And to do that, I believe MDs, SMDs, sometimes we have to get a check. I was doing a talk to some EMDs and some other ones back. No, actually, it was 3 days ago. I was talking to an SMD on David Lynn's team, David Lynn at SCVC or EVC at Guillermo Harrell's team. And I asked him this question. His name was Neil. I asked him this question down at the bottom, guys. You MDs and SMDs, Paula, Miss Red, okay? My wife's gonna love you because that's her signature color, red. You know, yeah, that's her thing. Is the new you as gritty and hungry as the old you that was climbing to SMD? Is the new you just as old, just like gritty, hungry when you were going for your ring? I think I saw you get your ring. I did a little bit of stalking on you. I saw a little flash in 2021. Did you get your ring? Atta girl, nice. Good girl. Awesome. Nice work. We're gonna get you that big, the gangster one, the big one. Represent. If you're gonna do it, do it. Is the new you as gritty as the old you that was going after that? Those that have their watch, I believe. See, we celebrate. This is crazy. You know, we celebrate the watch more than we celebrate the rings in our hierarchy. That's one of the secrets. That's one of the secrets of the Brian Loiso hierarchy. We celebrate that watch, that 50,000 Success Society watch, bigger than any ring. Why? Because you're halfway there. All you got to do is double. All you got to do is double your license and double your production, and you're there. You hit your ring, and then you hit your ring. You double one more time, you're at 250. You double one more time, you're at 5. You guys get the pattern here? But that first 50 is like quicksand, man. That first 50 is a grind. That's the dog fight. And so you MDs, you SMDs, senior associates on here, as you're climbing that, you've got some teammates, you got some leadership going, you got some things going. Are you right now as hungry and gritty as you were as a training associate, trying to climb it, trying to get a piece of this action? Okay, think about that. Okay, and I believe that's the key to keep climbing in this business is grit, is that fun word, grit. Okay, on to the next. Now, you new people and you leaders. This is something that we always talk about inside of our office, guys. We let people know you're going to be bad at this. That's why God himself gave you a field trainer and an SMD, so you don't be bad at it for long. Okay, leverage. You have to be bad at something before you're good at it. Think about that. Think about a time where you just think about something you're good at right now. You're just an ace at it. But in the beginning, what happened? You were probably very bad. Then you got halfway decent at best. And then you got decent and you just climbed those ranks, right? That's the thing that's the key in building people in WFG, is letting them know that there's going to be some pain and some struggle, but guess what? That's normal. That is okay. What's not normal is quitting. Okay, giving into it, because guess what? That's going to happen someplace else. They're going to be faced with the same adversity. Something else is going to pop up, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to say those famous words, "It's a sign. It wasn't for me." How many times you guys hear that? I'm like, my gosh. I take that sign and I break it over my head and say, let's keep going. Let's go. How many times are you going to say that? You can't say it many times. Okay. But you have to try many, many times before you're even bad at something first. Understand that. Understand that. Leaders, field trainers in the room. Okay. These are, like I said, I was going to give you guys some tangibles. Hopefully this helps out. But my field trainers know to educate their new associates that you've got to try. You've got to move. You've got to keep swimming, as Brian Loiso calls it. You got to keep swimming. What is that? You don't want to sit and just coast. You'll just eventually drown. You've got to keep moving forward. You've got to try many, many times. And you've got to check in with your leaders. You got to work on your words. You've got to work on these things. And you've got to do this stuff many, many times. Okay? Understand that. And then accept it. You guys, understand this. Listen, team. I'm calling you my team because that's what I call my people. Like, listen, team, we're all one team. Yeah, we're all going for the same goal. We're all wanting happiness. We're all wanting the same stuff. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with being bad at something. There's humility in it. There's humility in it. Plus, when you have a teammate that's going through some bad times, you say, well, let me tell you about this time. And I said, Dedric, this ever happened to you? Oh, 5 times. Let me tell you about it. And then they feel good about it. You know, that's what I think is so great about our business, especially the grinders. because they know how to relate to life. They know how to relate to things that when life hits them and they get all this adversity. And when their teammates look at them, they go, man, Paula kept after it. These leaders kept after it. I guess I'll just keep after it. You know, I just keep after it because I know on the other side, there's greatness. There's something great on the other side. So understand that, team. Understand that you have to be willing to be bad at it. It's okay. You have my permission right now to make some calls, mess it up, but don't do it too long. Check in with your field trainers, check in with your SMDs, let them know, say, hey, I messed up. What can I do differently? How should I word it? How should I show up? All those things. Don't keep messing up. Okay. All right. Now, second piece. Okay. I'm a big believer in goals. I'm a big believer in goals. I'm an avid reader. Like I said, I didn't come from an entrepreneurship family. I didn't come from a family that said, hey, you can be anything you want. In fact, when I told my parents I was going to start WFG, my dad goes, boy, that's going to be hard. That was the react I got. Okay. And my friends, no one said yes to me. I had to struggle, guys. It was long. It was tough. But again, and at that point, I didn't want to give anyone the satisfaction because I had so much no's in the beginning. And people are like, well, you'll wash out. All my friends. I was a broke college kid. I was 24. I'm 44 right now, so y'all know. I was 24 when I started the business. And so who do I know? A bunch of broke college kids. The only card I had to play was I had a finance degree. That's it. But even then, I mean, no one took me seriously. So I got a ton of no's. And it made me mad that people were like, you still doing that thing? When are you going to give up on that and do something different? And so by then it was spite. Success became spite. I'm like, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction. I'm not going to give them the satisfaction. No way. I'm just too stubborn that way. That's just me. But in the great book, Think and Grow Rich, that Monty Home references all the time. How many of you guys hear from Monty Home before? Great leader, Monty Home. How many times he talked about reading his goals out loud every morning and every night? Let me tell you something. I took that Pepsi challenge in that 2017 picture right there. I took that Pepsi challenge at that moment. I said, I'm doing this because this is never going to happen again. Well, guess what happened? This was in March of 2017. By July of, here's something crazy. Paula, I'm going to talk to you directly here because this will help you inspire some things. I think this is where you're headed. Yeah, I don't know where your cash flow is, but my cash flow at that time was 105,000 rolling 12, March of 2017. By July of 18, I was at 290. By writing down my goals, reading them out loud every morning, every night, I went and I hit my new ring, just like that. Can you imagine that, you guys? A business where you can give yourself $100,000 raise. Brian Loiso did this talk with us on Monday morning. He said, and then he called us up. He said, Dedric, what kind of raise did you give yourself last year? I said, 100%. He says, 100%. You paid yourself more than 100% raise last year. I said, yeah. He says, can you believe people out there in America today are working their tails off, hoping to get a 5% raise? And here at WFG, you can give yourself 100%. And you could do that part-time even. Yeah, right. Clap to that. That is big time. And guess what? You're helping people along the way. Is that inspiring? Is that not cool? I don't say that to brag. What I'm saying is, hopefully you sit there and go, man, me too. I can do that. I just got to sharpen the skills a little bit. I got some momentum. We finished 2021 pretty good. This is my year to double. Why not me? Why not me double? Why can't I double? You know, think about that. And so as we go down here, think about this. So if you want to double this year, you got to write that stuff down. You got to write it down. It can't be typed up. It's got to be written out. Okay. These are my goals. These were my goals in 2021. 2021, the year I dominate. I wrote that July 14th, 2021. And guess what we did? We dominated the Loiso hierarchy. We just beat the you-know-what out of everybody. And I didn't do it from a competitive standpoint, but I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Because you can be sick and tired of being sick and tired in WFG, can't you? People are sick and tired of their job, but they can do that here at WFG, can't they? They go, at one point, think about this. At some point in your life here at WFG, you're going to say, enough is enough. I'm good at this. Like, I've got clients. I've got some good teammates. I'm good at this. What if I really applied myself in 2020? What if I just did a little bit more? What if I time managed just a little bit better? What if I made sure I hit every meeting and I promoted every meeting to my team? What if I made sure I made my calls every day? What if you lived a life of what if, and then you put it into action? What would happen? I can promise you, you'll gain some momentum. and the momentum is going to flow. And as long as you know how to harness it and keep it, boom. But that doesn't happen unless you have something written down, guys. You got to have something written down, ready to play. In fact, I'm such a believer in this. I'm such a believer in this. I'm going to show something to you guys. So this is my notebook. So every January, I text Monty home my goals. I text him what I'm gonna do for the year. Okay. And I've got horrible handwriting. So I know some people are like squinting and stuff. I've got horrible handwriting. So I've kind of X'd it out so y'all can see. But look at this. 2021 exploded my business. Yada, 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 right down there. I have $100,000, new 100 grand in a Capital One 360 money market account. We did that. We put 100 grand cash in the bank. And then I paid cash for a new Escalade. Well, look what I got. Got that right there. Now, hold on. It gets better. This gets more fun. This is crazy, guys. This is crazy stuff. Let's see, I got a head here. I had put myself in here that I was the newest $500,000 ring earner. Okay. This was the text message from Brian Loiso, how we hit 500,000. That's oh, did I put the wrong one up there? That's okay. So I'd have 500,000. I wanted my goal was to hit 500,000 by June. I hit it in August. 500,000 in August. But look at this one here. I wanted to qualify for the WFG Hawaii trip. You guys want to go to Hawaii? That for us is a measuring stick. I wanted to be qualified by August 31st, 2021. I wanted $400,000 in my base shop. Okay, by August 31st, 2021. Well, there's the cycle. That's July 2021. My wife carries the SMD title. Look where we were at, 493. We were 93,000 ahead of the game. I said I wanted to finish out the contest at the end of September because the contest closed out in September with 600,000 base points on the contest. If you take a look at the contest, we finished at over 860. We demolished it. You know, as we hit our ring, look at this. Look at these cycles. That was $110,000 in 1 month. We did it twice. We had 105,000 in July. We did 110 in June. July and August. You guys, that is possible. Why is that? And I'll tell you this. This is the crazy thing. If you had seen the numbers by April and May, people would have been like, there's no way you're hitting 500,000. There's no way you're hitting EMD. There's no way you're hitting those things. And I just kept saying, no, we're good. I kept reading my goals, but I kept my activity up. I always made my activity. And I'm going to talk to you about my activity. You guys want to see how I got this stuff? And it's going to blow your socks off how we do it. You'll literally look at that, Paula. Do I call you Paula or I call you Red? Which one?
You can call me Paula or Red. Doesn't matter.
Perfect. Okay. When people see how we did that, they go, there's no way it's that simple. I said, yeah, it is that simple. What's not simple is keeping up with the plan. Most people can't read their goals out loud every morning and every night. Most people don't have the discipline. It's the hardest thing ever done. But I'll tell you what, I was hungry for a piece of the pie. I was done being a face in the crowd of WFG. I wanted to be part of the crowd. I wanted to be, in the mix with everything. And as I kept doing that, all of a sudden, here come these teammates, here come these clients, here comes everyone's in alignment. And to be honest with you, I cannot explain what happened. All the while, and I'm gonna switch gears to something more serious. All the while, so this was in July, August, September, May, it's all that momentum. Well, like I said, adversity shows up in many different ways. It shows up many different ways, and it's going to happen to you. And I'm going to tell this to you because it's going to happen to you. You need to be ready. Okay. And it shows up many different ways. But on Good Friday, 2021, my mom calls me up and she says, Mijo, your dad has COVID. And I said, okay, how is he? And she was, not good. We're going to the ICU. I said, well, how bad is he? She says, we don't know. His blood oxygen levels are in the 40s. He's barely responsive. And I said, I just saw you guys. I just dropped off some stuff to you for Easter, you know? And she says, well, it doesn't look good. And I'll tell you what, my dad fought for 4 weeks. So in that time frame, I would drive back and forth an hour each way to go see my dad once a week, to go visit him, you know, all the while building my business because I still had goals. I still had to keep, you know, I still have a family to feed. We still have things we have to do. Okay. And and I know my dad, he's, you know, he was pretty much unconscious the entire time. If he knew I was sitting there with him, he'd have said, what are you doing here? Get back to work. You have a family, get back to work. That's just his attitude. That's our worker attitude. Okay. We have that old Hispanic blood where it's like, get to work, get after it, you know? And unfortunately on April 28th, he took his last breath. I say that for a couple of things because people ask like, how did you keep the wheels on and still hit these goals? Hit your EMD, hit your 500. And I'll say, because we keep a simple business. We keep a simple business. But I'll tell you what, the one thing my dad did was, I'm so grateful he took our advice. My parents owned just about every WFG product out there. They had the life insurance, they had the IULs, they had the platform, they had the mutual funds, they had everything. And I can tell you to this day, right now, my mom's upstairs, I'm in my home office downstairs. There's two things my mom does not have to worry about. She doesn't have to worry about time or money anymore because WFG delivered on its promises. You guys ever wonder if this thing's real? Go deliver a death claim. That will change your attitude real quick, you know? And so all the while, it's like from March until pretty much end of September was a bliss. But I do know a couple of things that I'm gonna give you guys some tangibles that will help you out, that kept the wheels on the bus because we had momentum. And it wasn't that, hey, I had to shut life off. I couldn't focus. I could focus for maybe an hour a day. An hour a day, that was about it. And I've got some secrets here that will help you, that'll help show you guys that you can, even when adversity hits you, that you can say, let me just focus this little bit of time for a little bit of day, and I can keep my business moving forward, and then I'll be there for my family. But let me just do this little bit for my business, keep moving forward, and then I'll be there for my family. Okay. And so, you know, all the while, one of the things we do is, you know, we're just real big on just quick drop-by meetings, you know, getting our name out there, things like that. Okay. New people, understand this. Okay. Drop-by setups. This is just something we do. I don't know how you guys run your business, but we're just all about getting meetings, not outcomes. Just getting a meeting, getting our name out there. Okay. Hey, let me show you what's new with me. Can we hook up for 30 minutes? Let me show you what's new with me. Can we hook up for 30 minutes? That's one of the keys. Okay. The other thing that was key to this whole thing is that we during this whole time, mastering the part-time associate, I was able to leverage the beauty of the part-time, what we had going on. Okay. And so you knew people, let's switch gears real quick here. You need people. What are your part-time standards? What are your part-time standards? In fact, I gave this to, and I'll give you guys some secrets here that makes Brian Loiso's business so just like, I mean, so we hit EMD, give you guys an idea here. We had 1.2 million points for the rolling 12, 1.2 million. Okay, we needed 750,000. We had 1.2 million. We did it with a 98% NPR. You guys know what that is? Net point ratio. If you look in your WFG pulse, right? So our hierarchy, 98% NPR, 1.2 million points. How do we do it? You know, that's the thing that Brian teaches us, is because we have simple numbers. We have very simple numbers. And in fact, as part-timers, do you know what you're supposed to do for the day? Do you know what you're supposed to do for the week? Ask yourself that question. I asked this question to the SMD, David's team, and I said, do your people know what they need to do tomorrow? Do they know what they need to do for the week? What's their minimum standard of excellence? What's the minimum standard of excellence with your teammates? And he looked at me and goes, I don't know. And I said, that's a problem. Our guys know. We beat it in their head every Monday morning. Okay. In fact, our part-timers, this is all they know how to talk about. This is on the recruiting side. Then we'll get on the production side. If I can show you a legitimate way how to make $50,000 part-time in a licensed regulated profession, would you take a look at it? And we don't even have that big of recruiting numbers, but this is where we find some solid people, especially with the Zoom era. People, if you want to get some recruiting started in your business, this is just something that we use. It works great. If I can show you a legitimate way to make 50,000 a year on a part-time basis, licensed, regulated profession, we should take a serious look at it. And guess what's going to happen? They're going to come into your business. They're going to get sucked into our great environment, and they're going to find some people that take them to the 100, the 250, the 500. Does that make sense? The environment sorts out the people that want to stay part-time, and it also starts separating the people that want to go to the big time. Do you want to stay part-time or do you want to go to the big time? Pick one. But this gets them in the door. This gets them understanding things. Does that make sense to you all? Let me take a stop real quick. Do you guys have any questions real quick? I've just been talking and talking and talking. Any questions?
Okay, I believe Jeffrey Wong has a question. You've got us so fired up, so go ahead.
Okay, let's hear it, Jeffrey.
Dedric, hi. I don't know if you'll cover it. I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm good.
Awesome. I'm really pumped up. The first minute you started talking, I'm just fired up. Like, we have a big event coming up this weekend, Hierarchy. And I wish that you were part of that already. This is already done.
Wish I would have been too. That'd been fun.
Yeah. And my question is, you're talking about being sick and tired. That's me right now at the career where I am at now. I just wanted to know I don't know if we want to use percentage, but what part of your efforts were more on like starting from scratch type of building, and how much of it was spent towards existing leaders?
That's a funny one. If we go back to this right here, you're talking about this time?
Yeah.
100%. It was 100%. I had 3 SM. I put my entire team on notice because here's what I understood. What's your name again, sir?
Jeffrey.
Here's what I understood. I don't know if there's some Kool-Aid people drink at SMD or MD, but all of a sudden the parenting, they just don't listen no more. They really don't listen much, at least in our culture. They don't listen to anything. If I'd have sent this message out to my hierarchy, my base shop, and said, hey, I'm speaking on this group here, and if I'd asked Paula and said, hey, can I get some of my teammates on you? I bet you half would have showed up if best. And you guys got a packed call tonight. I realize that if that's where you're at, here's my challenge to you. What position are you with the company?
Right now I'm SMD.
Oh, perfect. So you're perfect. Okay. So your existing team right now has given you every piece of permission to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, go show us the way, great leader. Go do it again. So in fact, more to that story. So I'm gonna give you a little tidbit, little secret here. Here's the secret. Do you want a secret to EMD?
Yes,
there you
please.
Go. Here it is. So after that meeting, I walked into, so you guys now you got me all excited. So I'm gonna give you everything. After that meeting, I walked into Brian Loiso's office and I said, you talk about every week, if you just do the same heavy lifting to getting to SMD, the same recruiting, the same production, the same, like everything. If you keep doing that 3 or 4 times, you'll hit EMD. And he goes, yes. And I said, is that what you do? He says, yes. And I said, well, how many people actually do it? He goes, none. Look at there's no EMDs. There's Sean Patrick out in Cincinnati, but no one does it. No one has the stones to do it. And I said, well, I'm gonna do it. I said, I'm so mad. I'm so fired up. I'm so sick and tired of things going on. I am going to go re-qualify for S&D. I'm going to walk in tomorrow, like the white belt. Think about this. Is it fair to say that you're better at the words now than when you started?
Yes.
Is it fair to say you're better with the products?
Absolutely.
Is it fair to say you're better at presenting the company?
Yes.
So what would stop you from saying, you know what? I think I could hit this in 3-4 months. I'm better at all this. What kind of activity could you think you could spark in your business? If you walked in and said, you know what, I'm going to take a mental code number. I'm going to take a new code number out. So you MDs or seniors, this works for all you guys. If you were to do the same lifting you did to get you where you are, what would happen in your business? What would happen? Here's a bigger challenge, a simple challenge. I challenge my guys all the time. What if today you went and made a brand new top 100 list and started from scratch? What would happen? How would your business look? Think about that. You get some cool stuff going on. And I did that. We went from, that's how we hit $250,000. Literally. I went from, it was March of 17. We hit SMD numbers by September, April, May, June. Yeah. So 6 months. New codes. I've got a whole different presentation on it. New codes, new cash flow, new everything. We hit $250,000 and we've been riding that momentum since, even through a COVID. That's what I did. So it was like 100%. I went 100% saying it is me, because that's all I can control. I can control me, my attitude, my activity, and that's it. And I can control a new team, what kind of example I give them. Does that make sense?
Thank you, Dedric.
Yeah, go do that. Go do that. It's January. My challenge to you is get it done by April. See what happens. Go get the new codes, new everything. Your stomach probably got a little knot in it. You're like, I don't know if I want to do that. That's the dirty work. That's the dirty. Go see what you're made of, my man. And watch. If you're that hungry, watch what happens. Watch the results. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So start with small steps then. Think about this. So this will help you out. See, one of the things to Brian Loiso's business, or at least in my business, I do simple, small steps. I commit to small steps. My guys every single week know to hear how many, are you getting your money calls in? Those MCs, money calls. So Paula, you guys, if you're SMDs on my team, I said, you get your money calls in? You get your money calls in for the day. You get your 3 to 5 money calls in today. Money calls in today. What is a money call? That's the golden question. A money call is this. A money call is the contact that says, yes, I want to join your business, or yes, I want to interview with you, or yes, I need that policy, or yes, I have some mutual funds I want to work with. Those are all money calls. And if you just throw a few of those out each day, this is the small stuff that adds up a lot. If you're part-time, can you do 1 to 2? Here's the key. I didn't say you had to set the appointment. All I said was you just got to do the call. So by 9 a.m., by 10 a.m., my calls are done for the day. We run that's how we were able to hit $500,000 in EMD. We just send messages out, lines are in the water. Because here's what I understood. Leaders in the room. If the day went to just sideways, at least I made my money for the day. At least I made my money calls. At least my calls were done, because I just put that few little efforts. Think about that though. If you did 5 calls a day, 5 days a week, that's 25, isn't it? That's 100 for the month. I mean, you mean to tell me you're not going to get something out of 100 in a month? But what do? We overcomplicate the heck out of it. Part-timers, if you did 2 contacts a day, that's 10 for the week. Okay, 40 for the month. You don't think someone's going to think this business is cool along with you? You don't think someone's going to have some money to work with? But what do? We overcomplicate the heck out of it. We say we have to do like 8 million calls in a day, and I got to lock myself in my office and make 2 hours worth of calls. Bull. This is how we're lapping people back home, is we just do simple stuff and we can sustain it. And we're constantly selling yourself the dreams. We're constantly selling ourselves the dream. Look at Ted. He's like ready to go. He's like, man, I can't, I'm ready to start calling right now. And then finally here, I don't know if my wife is on yet. I'll have to unmute myself, see where she's on. Is she on? Do you know if you see a Christina Martinez on?
Yes, I saw her on the call.
Okay. Hi, Mama. See if she unmutes herself.
Hi, love.
Oh, there she is. Okay. 3 and 3 challenge. You break it down to this. See, sometimes people feel like this in the WFG business, don't they? This guy on the left here, don't they? They're like, what in the world am I supposed to be doing? Am I supposed to be recruiting? Am I supposed to be selling? Am I 3-3-30? Am I this? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing in business? Brian Loiso, from the day I've met him, been talking about this. 3 and 3. Dedric, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're WFG or in the States. We have Transamerica, we have TFA, right? And then we have our division called Wealth Wave. And it's like, am I WFG? Am I TFA? Am I Wealth Wave? Am I Mayonnaise? What am I today? And he says, I don't care who you are today. What I care about, Dedric, I care that did you get your 3 invitations to your BPM for the week? And did you get your 3 client intake forms for the week? You personally, on your personal pen, Paula, you personally sit down with your clients, 3 of them, 3 new client analysis forms for the week and 3 new personal guests to your BPM. If you do that consistently, game over. And if you teach a culture of that, see, that's how Brian's done it. That's how he's built this massive hierarchy. And it's really kind of a sleeper hierarchy. Look at his numbers. They're big, but it's just very unique because all he does is talk about this. He doesn't talk about 3-3-30. He doesn't talk about anything else. He says, hey, did you get your 3 and 3 for the week? Every Monday morning. Nothing else matters. You can go lay by the pool the rest of the week. If you get your 3 guests to the meeting and you got your 3 client intake forms, you could be the worst closer in WFG and you'll still make $100,000 and still hit SMD. Run the math. Run the math. Okay. And so have that kind of a story. Okay. Have that simple a story. And to do that, think about this, because everyone's different, but think about this. If you got a calculator, if you've got 3 clients a week, multiply that by 50 weeks a year, that's 150 client intake forms. Yeah. I don't know your average point case. Ours is about 3,000. Well, out of those 150, if we close half of them, that's 75 new clients at 3,000 point value. What's your personal points? A lot. All of a sudden, now you've got a good example. You're hitting the ring, you're hitting the watch. Not to mention overrides, because you got your 3 guests each week. Yes. If you got 3 guests every week to the meeting, and you got a 25% conversion ratio or 50% conversion ratio, what do you have? All of a sudden, you got 15, 20 licensed people. And all of a sudden, you're an SMD. You see how simple that is? And you break it down to the daily. You do it every day. You make your money calls every day. And all of a sudden, you have that attitude of someday. Just like how me and Christina were. If we just do this every single day and sell out to this, someday becomes one day. And then that day, you're wearing the ring, the red ring. You're getting the congratulations to Hawaii. You're getting all those great things. And you said, all I did was just do the simple stuff. It wasn't rocket science. I did the simple things. I'm going to turn it over to my wife. She's going to close you guys out. It has been an absolute pleasure to be with you. Again, you got to high five your SMD or your leader there, because I don't know her I wouldn't have been able to pick her out from a crowd. She wouldn't be able to pick me out from a crowd. But she took a shot and said, would you be willing to speak to my team? And it's with honor and a privilege. I'm emotional talking about it, because my hope is that I inspired you all to at least do something in 2022. So I'm going to turn it over to my wife. I don't know if you have the controls, love, but she's going to take over. You guys, okay? I'm going to sit back. Have a blessed 2022.
Thank you, Dedric.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Good evening, everybody. I mean, I don't know about you. I got nothing to say. I am like the luckiest woman on the planet that I get to go home to this man. I joke, this is why our basement is finished. When he needs to escape me, he goes into the basement, and then I go downstairs. I'm like, hey, love, what's going on? But I will tell you, running
this is Paula Red Reyes. And I said, she's going to love you.
I've been watching her.
Yeah,
and I read the email. You're in Toronto?
Yes, the
Oh my God, I grew
Toronto.
up in Niagara Falls on the American side. So I have such fond memories as a child of my parents taking me to Toronto, going to the CNE and watching, oh gosh, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Just going to see some of the theater. I love Teresa Tengwang. I dream of meeting her. I think I've said hi to her from a distance. But I am so honored to, I'm an honorary Canadian, Wayne. You are the sweetest. Thank you.
I wanted to show some fun pictures, but I forgot. So yeah.
Do you know how many people ask me if I'm Canadian? And I'm like, don't you know geography? There's like a Niagara Falls on the United States side too, right? Crazy. Oh, I'll tell you, our education system is in the toilet these days, in the toilet. But I do love my Canadian friends. You guys are wonderful. And I am so honored, just as my husband said, just so honored to be with you all tonight. You know, this game that we call WFG, and I say it's a game because sometimes we feel like we win, sometimes we feel like we lose. But I want to let you know, every day you wake up and you live and breathe WFG, you're winning. Because this company, I mean, I get emotional about it. This company changes lives. And if you happen to hear a dog barking in the background, it's my pit bull. He's just saying hi, okay? But WFG is a game changer. And if someone had said to us a year ago, you would have made $500,000 in the course of a year, I would have called him a liar, because like Dedric said, we were not on track for that. Do you know what's even harder than earning $500,000 in a year? Do you want to know what it is? Trevor, I saw you lean in a little bit. Do you know what's harder? Telling your parents that you made $500,000 in a year. My parents were like, oh, your business did that? We're like, no, we got paid cold, hard cash. And my mom was like, Richard, you need to come and hear this from your daughter, right? Like, it's something that our parents can't even imagine. I just pray they don't take me out of the will. I hope they don't think like they need to be doing anything like that. But I will tell you, the things that I love about WFG are the fact that I have had to learn how to show up better for myself each and every single day. Because when I show up better for myself each and every single day, then my team and my family and my friends get to see that they can show up better for themselves as well. And so I'm just going to share a little slideshow that I put together for another group. I'm from New York, people. I talk fast, so take notes fast. That's all I really got to say. And I don't want to keep you here all night because it's Thursday and people might have some important stuff to do on a Thursday night, right? But one of the things that I really love to talk about is how to win in 2022, especially around this idea of self-talk, because your self-talk will make or break your life. And some of you right now are not very nice to yourselves. Some of you would not allow others to talk to you the way you talk to yourself. And I am begging you to stop. Because what you're doing in the short term to make yourself comfortable is killing your potential. I don't want you to beat yourself up with your self-talk. I want you to talk to yourself in the most loving way possible to remind yourself that the comfort that you think you're in is destructive in every way, shape, and form. That if you truly want the better life that you say you want, then go and make it happen because you deserve it. So I love Andrew Frisella. I don't know if any of you have heard about him. Dedric, did you talk about Andy at all?
No, I figured you would.
I feel like we're BFFs. He has no idea who I am, but that's okay because there will be a day he knows who Christina Martinez is. But I love Andy. Now I'm gonna give you a little warning. Andy, when you listen to his podcasts, he's very animated, very excited. He likes the F word. He enjoys it. He uses it profusely. To me, you got to kind of push that aside and really listen to the meat that he's giving you. Okay. Don't get distracted by the profanity. He uses it, I think, mainly to get his point across. I think that we could throw in some other vocabulary, but again, this is Andy's podcast, not mine. But what I love about him is how real he is. And so I want you to listen closely to some of the things he says. He has this podcast all about the elite 2%. And for those of you, Jeremy, you said you're an SMD, I believe. I'm going to share with you why your teammates show up as they are. And this is going to teach you how to be empathetic, but not sympathetic to them, so that you can continue to show them how to become better. So imagine 100 people that say they want to be a part of WFG or a part of anything. Andy talks about how 70 of them right out of the gate flee. Whatever reason, they couldn't tie their shoes that morning. They couldn't find their keys that day. They read that starting a business is difficult. They talked to their uncle's, plumber's, brother's, cousin's neighbor who tried to have a business years ago and floundered, and therefore they need to flee as soon as they decide to show up. That happens. It doesn't just happen with WFG. It happens everywhere. So out of these 30 people that left, out of these 30 people that start showing up to a BPM, that say that they have goals, that say that they have dreams, that decide to start studying for their licensure, what happens to them? Well, the next 20 that fall off because something happened on their journey to WFG success that blows them out of the water. Their car breaks down. They don't pass an exam the first time that they go to take it. The first 50 people they talk to say no. Andy talks about how he and his business partner had a storefront get robbed. For some people, that would throw them out of their business. For Andy's partner, his mom was dying and he was driving 2 hours each way multiple times throughout the week. For some people, that would throw them out of the business. But if we're all here, we understand that adversity is going to show up and we're prepared for it, or so we say. And then it happens, and sometimes we cave. Those people that cave leave 10. Out of this 10, we get down to the final 2. Well, if 90% of the people have left and 10 of them remain, why do 8 more still fall off? Because all of a sudden, adversity looks different. Adversity isn't the flat tire because you've already experienced it. Adversity is not someone saying no, because you realize they're not saying no because of you. They're saying no because of themselves. Adversity is not a family member getting sick. Adversity now is the mundane. Adversity now is waking up and checking emails and making phone calls and going on appointments and going through what's called the monotony of your day. And it gets so routine, we don't even recognize it as adversity. And people lose the fire that got them started in the first place. See, one of the things that I love about WFG is that I can easily reignite my fire just by having a conversation with someone who doesn't even understand how money works. I can reignite that fire by going on social media and seeing the next GoFundMe because somebody died. I can reignite that fire because I can turn around and I can vividly remember where I was when I started with this company. And I can remind myself how far I've come, but that the journey is not over. But you see, for 8 of those people, they won't know how to find that. That's why, Jeremy, I was saying, you've got to be prepared for when your teammates reach this point in their business, because they're going to need your help even more than they may have needed originally. Because sometimes when a fire gets extinguished, it's harder to start it. And you've got to find out why, what is triggering it. And so that starts with our self-talk. See, Dedric talks about reading your goals out loud every morning and every night. And I don't know about you, but some of the moms in my neighborhood, we love to play bunco, but we also enjoy drinking some tasty beverages while we play bunco. But see, I had made a commitment to read my goals out loud every morning and every night. And so I remember it was about 11:40 on a Friday night. And I had said to my friends, I got to leave. I got to go home and read my goals because I have to read them by midnight. You can't tell anyone. I ran into the wall reading my goals that night. I might have had a few too many tasty beverages, and I was too involved in reading my goals to realize I was walking right towards the wall. See, that's how important it needs to be to you to read your goals out loud every morning and every night. See, if you don't read your goals out loud every morning and every night, who's going to remind you what you're fighting for? Who's going to remind you the direction you need to head in? Who is going to remind you if you don't remind yourself? See, the problem is we are foolish enough to believe that our brains are big enough and smart enough to remind us of everything that we need to do. It's not possible. By reading your goals out loud every morning and every night, you are reminding yourself the type of client you're looking for, the teammate you're looking for, the goals that you're shooting for, the dreams that you have. You've got to do it. Your self-talk has to be on point. More of what I read out loud every morning and night has to do with who I want to be as I show up in life, as opposed to these what I would call American goals: flashy house, big car, gigantic jewelry. You know what I mean? My goals are not so much about those American consumer-driven things, as opposed to how do I want my community to see me when I show up at church on Sunday? How do I want my friends that are struggling in their marriage to look at my marriage and say, Christina, what do you and Dedric do to get along so well? Have you ever had struggles? I want to remind myself who I want to show up as. My self-talk has to be strong, and so does yours, but it only comes if you practice it. So as we start thinking about some of these things, you know, I love when Dedric said this isn't about making 85,000 calls in one day, because who has the capacity to do that day after day? Life gets in the way. But I'll tell you, by having small bite-sized goals every single day, you will accomplish more in the long run. Why? Because you're building a discipline. You're creating a habit. Anybody can go to the gym for one day and get on the stair climber for 3 hours. Are you going to want to do that every single day? I love the stair climber. It's my not so silent love affair, and I don't want to be on it for 3 hours every day, 5 days a week. I'm lucky if I can handle 45 minutes. So bite-sized chunks. But if you want to be more productive, you need to be the master of your minutes. And you start to master your minutes by reading your goals out loud every morning and every night. It sounds so simple, because it is. It's harder than working on my marriage. And I've been married twice. Why? Because it's a different level of commitment. It's a commitment you hold for yourself. And especially as a woman, it is so much easier to honor the commitments I give to others than the commitments I want to give to myself, because I all of a sudden appear selfish. It's all about Christina. It is all about Christina. It is. Because I've got to set the example for those that aren't strong enough to do it themselves. So how do we become more productive? So we talked about Andy Frisella's Elite 2%. Stop fooling yourself with this idea of motivation. It doesn't just happen. You don't just wake up at 4:30 in the morning on a Monday and go, I am so motivated. So motivated. It doesn't happen. Instead, all of the little commitments that you honor, that you have set for yourself, create the motivation. But that only happens if you have discipline. You know, I love when people say to me, I make 50 phone calls a day. I'm like, God, I'm exhausted just hearing that. I mean, when does your laundry get done? Do you eat? Is it like in that movie, The Pursuit of Happiness? Is the phone taped to your hand? Like, what else do you do? And do you really do that every day? See, discipline is all about doing the things that you promise yourself that you're going to do. That's all discipline is. It's no different than when I open my refrigerator and I'm like, do I really want to eat those vegetables, or do I want to open the freezer and eat a York peppermint patty? Okay. The discipline is keeping the freezer closed and opening the fridge. I know, Melissa, I'd rather eat the York peppermint patty too, but that's okay. That's okay. There is a book that I love called Atomic Habits by James Clear. What I love about the book is that he doesn't ask the reader to reinvent him or herself. He asks the reader to create new habits, new disciplines that automatically stack with existing disciplines. So here's one of my former disciplines. I would get up in the morning and I would make a cup of coffee. But then I learned I should really start my day drinking 8 ounces of water. It like does something really nice for the inside of your body, makes you start feeling good, opens up your cells. Whereas we all know coffee dehydrates you, right? So I read Atomic Habits and I'm like, how do I start incorporating something as silly as drinking more water in my day? So now when I wake up, the first thing I do is have a glass of water. And my reward for drinking my water is coffee. I've learned how to stack a new habit alongside an existing habit. And by doing that, even Dedric now knows, don't bring me a cup of coffee first thing in the morning, bring me a glass of water. See, it sounds so simple. But there are days that I wake up and all I want to do is start with a cup of coffee. But I now know, because I've created the discipline of doing something that I promised myself I would do, I feel like a better person. The ultimate goal is to move into the stage of diligence. And that is doing the things we know we need to do, but don't want to do, and executing it at the highest level. See, that's WFG. There are days we all wake up and the last thing we want to do is make a phone call, follow up with a client, contact your trade desk to figure out why something's held up. I get it. I've been there. And you're lying if you say, no, those things excite me. Every day they excite you? No. It's like laundry. Nobody gets excited about doing laundry. Okay. See, these are the monotonous things in our business that would push out some of the people. But what we have to do is recognize I've made these commitments to myself and I'm going to execute at the highest level. And now we've moved into the stage of diligence. And why is this important? Why is it important to be diligent? Because you will never change your life until you change something you do daily. And the secret of your success is found in your daily routine. We all know this. Lies. Oh, I know that, Christina. The heck you know it. You know about it unless you're doing it. The only way we know something is if we do it ourselves. And so this last year, Dedric and I had to really take, one of the things that I love about us is we're very transparent. We're very flawed. We have no problem talking about our flaws. I mean, I just finished an appointment with someone. I was running my hands through my hair. I was getting all excited talking about all these things. I was like, oh my God, now I gotta get on another Zoom. I don't have time to prep myself. My cheeks are all flushed. I was like, you know what? This is just who I am. This is who I am. We've got to change how we approach our day each and every single day. And if you truly say, and I don't know about some of you, I used to be a school teacher, but when I came to this company, I was like, not only do I want to make some more money because, teachers in Colorado get paid pennies, I want more time. I heard something from Angelica Haro when I was doing the WFG Virtual Unstoppable event last month. She goes, we all have the same 24 hours. We all have the same 24 hours. And I know some of you are thinking, liar, Christina, I don't got the same 24 hours. We do. We all have the same 24 hours. So if I work my WFG business 10 hours a day, if I'm full-time, 12 hours a day, and I'm sleeping 6-7 hours a day, I still have 4, 5, 6 hours a day to do other stuff. If I'm part-time and I'm working 8 to 10 hours a day in a job, and I'm sleeping 6 to 7 hours, and I'm working my WFG business maybe 3 days a week, 1 to 2 hours, you still have plenty of time to do other stuff. See, the problem is time is a vacuum. It's just like your countertop in your kitchen. You get it all clean, it's wiped down, it's empty, you're all proud, it looks wonderful. And then someone comes in and puts something on it, and all of a sudden, it becomes a pile of stuff. That's time. Until you manage your time so precisely, other things will always creep in. So let me give you an example. Today's Thursday. My ovens weren't heating up as well as they used to. I mean, they're 13 years old. I got all of my work done by 11 o'clock in the morning, had time to go to the gym and replace 2 heating elements in my wall ovens. Now, the YouTube video said it would take 15 minutes each. That was a flat out lie. It took me about an hour, but I had time to do it. Why? Because my daily routine was so disciplined that I freed up the time. See, time doesn't free itself up for us. We free up time by becoming so disciplined and diligent in our daily actions that now all of a sudden the day becomes longer. And we get to start to do some of the things we want to do. So if we go back to this piece, Andy Frisella talks about this thing called the power list. It's in one of his podcasts, like 107 or 210 or something like that. But he says the power list are 3 to 5 things that need to get done each and every single day. And for some of you type A people, I'm talking to you right now. Stop your list of 100 items. It's killing you. I'm the type of person, I could have 100 items on my list, accomplish 99 of them, and the day is a complete failure. Talk about that self-talk. That is just a disaster. 5 items, and you're going to be surprised by the first 3. Self-care. This is not woo-woo self-care. This is like real self-care. You know, Transamerica, I don't know what it's like up in Canada, but here in the States, they are all about health and wellness. That means that if we want to talk to people about making the most of their money as they age, they need to be healthy, because when we're not healthy, life becomes expensive. So we have to move each and every single day, not just because we want to show people that we're healthy, but because it's important for us to create more energy. And that only happens when we move. We have to read our goals out loud every morning and every night. And for some of us, we need to meditate. You know, my Monday mornings, I'm up at 4:30. By 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, I need a recharge. Coffee isn't going to do it. So I'll do a 20-minute meditation. I feel like a new person. And then I can run until 9 o'clock at night, and I'm not tired. If we don't take care of ourselves first, there will be no business to care for. And then what happens with the last 2 items on our power list? Because see, the power list teaches us to be patient. It teaches us to be present, and it teaches us to be deliberate. This was how I was able to get my day done by 11 o'clock on Wednesday. So if my first 3 items are self-care, my number 4 needs to be contacts. Who are my prospective contacts that I'm calling? I might be calling 3 to 5 people that day. If I'm full-time, I'm making about 5 calls. If I'm part-time, I'm making 1 to 2. And then maybe number 5 is some follow-up. I've got clients that are rescheduling something. I'm calling some teammates, but it's not 100 items every day, because 100 items every day is not sustainable long-term. But if I do 5 of these every day, I've made 100 contacts over the course of a month. That's the beauty of the power list. And I encourage people to really listen in on how to create a day that they can win. Now, mind you, Monday I won my day. Wednesday I lost my day. It's not about winning every day. It's about moving my business forward every day. And by staying focused on this, I am able to. Because too many times in this business, I meet people who have these goals. And there's this huge disconnect between their action and the goals that they're shooting for, because they're focused so much on the results, they don't realize it's their lack of daily action that's actually killing it. That's how you fix the disconnect. You know, I think sometimes in this world, this whole idea of changing ourselves sometimes makes us feel like we're inadequate the way we are. When Dedric and I talk to people about changing themselves, we're not saying you aren't amazing the way you are. We're just saying you haven't tapped into everything you are. You're only showing up as a small version of yourself. But you've got to work on your mind every single day to change yourself, because see, your mind is a funny little thing. It has this ability to remind you of things that don't matter anymore. It has this ability to point out flaws that aren't really characteristic of who you are anymore, but maybe of who you were. Your mind has this way of almost putting a pair of rose-colored glasses over your eyes and making things distorted. By controlling how you react to your mind, it allows for you to be very diligent and disciplined with your actions. But if we don't work on ourselves, we allow our mind to dictate how we respond to things. That's why the work we do on ourselves is so important. That's just a couple of ways. If you'd like to stay in touch with me, you could follow me on Instagram. I have a link tree. I've got a few links up there right now of some podcasts that I've done as well. But I want people to understand the transformation that Dedric and I went through to go from 100,000 in income to almost 300 to crossing 500 in a handful of years doesn't happen because we're special. It happens because we did the work. It happens because we learned to say more yeses to us and what we said we wanted than outside yeses that didn't take us in the direction of our goals. The hardest thing about WFG is the noise. There's noise from prospective clients. There's noise from teammates. There's noise from what's going on around us in our community. The hardest thing about WFG is learning how to quiet the noise that is not in alignment with the goals that we have, so that we could stay true to the reasons why we came here in the first place. You learn to quiet the noise by reading your goals out loud and every morning and every night, by staying true to that power list, by working on your discipline. And little by little, you will start to see changes that you can't explain. You can't explain it. You know, when my father-in-law passed away, it was such a weird time because the week he passed was coming on the 15th anniversary of me losing my first spouse. My first husband died April 26th of 2006. And I remember going into that week watching my father-in-law in ICU, which happened to be the same place my first husband died. And I thought, was I brought here so that I could be strong enough for my mother-in-law, just to let her know everything would be okay? And 2 days after the anniversary of my husband dying, my father-in-law passed. You know, Dedric talks about how he had maybe an hour's worth of capacity every day after his dad passed. I had no capacity. I completely regressed. And for 6 to 8 weeks, I was lucky if I had an hour a week to give to this business. So how does a couple who had something so traumatic happen that was not on track to hit the milestones we hit just 6 months later do what we did? It was diligence. I remember the day Dedric said to me, "Can you just make one call a week? Can you just make one call a week?" And I had to muster everything that I had in me to say, I can make one call a week. Because I was so paralyzed by that loss. It brought up so many memories that I had suppressed for over a decade. See, we think by coaching our team through the initial adversities that they will experience here, that it will get them through the latter adversities the longer they've been here. It doesn't. We've got to be aware of everything that can take someone out at the knees here. And we do that by our self-talk. If we did not stick to our self-talk through that trauma, we would not be here today with you. We wouldn't be able to share that we came here for the same reasons that many of you did. Financial freedom, to get rid of a job that isn't satisfying us anymore, to serve in different ways that our current career might not be allowing us to be the financial legacy that maybe you've always wanted to do, but your family couldn't do for you. See, you've got to stay true to what brought you here. And I promise you, the longer and more intense you read those goals out loud every morning and every night, the better prepared you are putting yourself in the position to achieving those things. Have you ever heard that your team will do half of what you do really well and like 1,000 times more of what you don't do really well. That's why you have to read your goals out loud every morning and every night. Because if you only read your goals out loud every morning and every night once a week, they will never do it. They will never do it. And I know that our team thinks of us like the mom from Charlie Brown, for those of us that are old enough to remember. Wah, 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 wah. Like, they don't listen to me. I'm okay with that. I have a 16-year-old that doesn't listen to me. She leaves her bathroom towels on the floor. How hard is it to put it on the rack, right? Our teammates are no different. And we can empathize with them because we know what it's like to walk in their shoes. But the moment we sympathize with them and use that as a crutch for them to stop pursuing their goals, we are failing them. I'm not saying you need to be perfect, because you will never be perfect in this business. But you must be better tomorrow than you are today. And you must be better on Saturday than you are tomorrow. That is all this company has asked of Dedric and myself. It has been the most incredible journey of my life. And I promise you, you will one day get to say the same thing to a group, just like we get to say to you tonight. I cannot wait to meet all of my new Canadian friends in person. I think you're wonderful. Paula, I could cry right now. I'm so honored that you allowed us to spend time with you tonight. I wish you all a blessed 2022, and let's all stay in touch.
We're very